Hello everyone and welcome back. I'm your host, Veteran Mountain Man, and these are the results from last night's U.S. primary in the state of Washington. Now, Washington is an odd critter because it does a top two primary situation. So as you can see here for like the U.S. Senate race, we have two candidates here at the top. One has 54%, one has 24%. All of these other candidates were part of that race. Anybody could have voted for any of these. And only the top two win. Now, this concept was created with the idea that it would produce more reasonable results in a primary, and that it would stop the two-party candidacy concept. However, one of the things that the advocates of this system didn't really talk about is the fact that some cases it actually stifles choice. Let's go ahead and take a look here. So as we can see, we got a Democrat independent and a Republican for the U.S. Senate seat. Here in the House District, we got a Democrat independent and a Republican, Democrat independent, and it is currently unclear as to who will be the secondary candidate. It could actually be Colin Carlson here, which means that you'd have two Democrats running for House District 2. Here we have a Republican independent and a Democrat. Here, no contest. There were only two candidates. Here, we have a Republican independent and a Democrat. Democrat independent and Republican. Same again. Here, we have a Republican that is currently winning, and nobody declared for the second because these two are too close currently, and there's still 32% left to record. Here you can see we've got a Democrat independent, and there's still 38% to record, so it's unclear as to who's next. And as you can see, stuff continues on. Now, this race right here was one that was being talked about heavily by a lot of the leftist news media out here in Oregon as a weather vane for how Washington was going to be voting. Now, the fact that Dino Rossi won 43% of the vote already shows that this blue wave theory that they were talking about, where people were fed up with Republicans, is probably not true in the state of Washington. Because while he is the incumbent, he also has the highest percentage of vote in that district already, and has already secured himself basically the primary. Now, as you can see, here are the rest of them. We had several that were non-contested. We had some that are going to be straight Democrats. Here we got a Democrat independent and an independent. Here we've got basically two Democrats that are going to be running against each other. Here we got two Democrats that are going to basically be running against each other. Here we have two Democrats that are going to be running against each other. A Democrat and independent. Here we've got too close to call currently. And as you can see, two Democrats here likely. The thing really comes down to the fact that the top two primary doesn't really change the running. In fact, all it really does is, in rare cases, it takes away choice from the citizenry. Because in some of these contested areas where you've got two Democrats that are pretty much going to be the candidates, you have no alternative after the primary. And so at that point, if two Democrats are the ones that win the primary, you've got a choice of a Democrat and a Democrat. So what it then becomes is, which one is the biggest Democrat? There's no choice there. But what do I know? I'm just an old boy who's served this country and tried to be as good as I can. Here's another district where it's going to be two Democrats. So basically the people in House District 48 for position 2, they get no choice. They've got Amy Walden and Cindy Bright, both of who are Democrats, running for the same seat. And so when they vote this November, it'll be a vote between a Democrat and a Democrat. And so how are they going to run against each other? Well, it's going to be which one is the biggest Democrat. at which point you have no option if you're not a Democrat. But there are the election results. Now, I am going to include a link to this OPB article, which is Oregon Public Broadcasting, because not all of the vote is in yet. And people should definitely check the voting responses in Washington and in Oregon to see how everything plays out. But these are pretty much going to be, except for some of the ones that are fairly contested, this is pretty much going to be the nominees we are currently seeing, and will be how it's going to play out for the November election. Well, I want to thank you all again for joining me for this primary update. Also, don't forget that the Ohio primary was last night. It is still currently being contested because the gubernatorial race is supposed to be very close. And the special elections race was very close. And while special elections tend to result in fewer Republicans coming out, when it comes up for the next election, which will be the midterm in November, we will probably see a much higher Republican turnout than we have currently seen. And at which point we will see probably a bigger red wave than we have seen on this primary season so far. Well, thank you all again for joining me. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to check out my other social media sites down below. And as always, have yourself a great day.